It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
It's kind of new to our area, but it's a really great program. So we're going to talk about this because this is a really big issue. A lot of people, when they're injured, can die from blood loss. So this is a program that's getting out into schools for the first part to help folks react to that type of incident. And is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, we want the public to help us. We can't do this job without them. And they're our biggest supporters, so we want them involved to be able to help people.
Mm-hmm. Now tell us a little bit, if you would, Lieutenant, the Stop the Bleed program itself.
The program itself started in 2015. President signed an order enacting the Stop the Bleed program. I personally didn't really hear about it until last year. And then again, it was very minimal as far as it was going, because we were already so involved as an agency, equipping our guys and training our guys with stopping blood loss on them and members of the public, that we didn't really look at it from engaging the public side of it until this year, beginning of the year, we started looking at it, expanding it to get their assistance.
Mm-hmm. And so how does the program work? What does it involve? It involves a bag of goodies?
Yes, for us it does, and we kind of made it our own to kind of fit our community a little bit and what we feel was important. What it is really getting the people that are out there every day, the members of the community, the moms, dads, businessmen and stuff like that, involved in intervening and helping people when they need help. In our fast-paced society, a lot of times people are quick to drive by and look to see what's happening and not stopping to help a hand, or real quick to pull out their cell phone to document what's happening instead of lending a hand. So it's really geared at remembering we're humans, we need to be involved, we need to engage each other, and when someone needs help, stop and try to help them as best you can. So providing training and some equipment and resources is something that we can do as a police department to make sure that we're doing our share with our community to keep them engaged.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I love the awareness of helping our fellow man that's come out. I mean, we've talked about Pulse Point, which is the CPR app that's come out, and now we're going to talk about Stop the Bleed, because bleeding, injuries and blood loss is a huge problem when it comes to accidents and things like that, and a lot of people stand back and go, I don't know what to do.
Yes, well, and blood scares people, and as it should, we need it in our bodies to continue to live. So anytime there's blood loss, people think, oh, disease, am I gonna, they're worried about themselves as well, and as long as you do things properly and you take precautions, helping people is not dangerous if you're just trying to help them. It's something that I feel we should be doing as human beings. We should be doing that to help and take care of each other. So as we started moving forward with this program internally at our department, we even had some of that backlash of, well, is this for me? Am I using it on other people? And it's like, you need to use it when it needs to be used. The equipment doesn't have my name on it just because it's in my car. It's there for whoever needs to it. So we need to use it to help the public, and hopefully if someone's in the public's there to help us, they will, and we can provide them training so that if they do show up, they know what to do. We'll provide the resources. So.
And how does the training work?
Well, if they contact the department, we can work with your group or your organization or your business and set up a time where we can get one of our instructors to come down there and go over the training. We're doing the training we just finished up last week with the schools. Ideally, the training would be about 2 hours. We can expedite that based on your timing and really, get you up to date on how to utilize the equipment that you want in your building, or that we're going to show up with should there be an incident at your building.
See, that's an excellent point. The equipment you're going to show up with when you respond to an incident, if you're busy doing something else, someone else in the room, a civilian who knows how to use this equipment, who's been trained to stop the bleed, can assist you.
Absolutely, and we've worked with the schools, and we have provided them the same exact equipment that our officers carry in their vehicles and on their person every day. That way, if we do show up and maybe they don't have enough of the equipment, we have the equipment, we can provide them. They already know how to use it. We're trying to standardize it in that aspect just so there's no confusion. The other thing is we have directions on everything that we have, so even if someone doesn't have the training, they at least look at the instructions on the packaging to kind of get an idea of how to move forward with it.
Right, and we're talking about equipment that's not very complicated. There's a couple of packages on the table. We've got some gauze and some wound seals and some bandages and a tourniquet and some self-adhesive gauze. I mean, that's it. I was expecting complicated equipment. Yeah. This is simple stuff. It's almost stuff that you could buy at the local drugstore. It's a little bit better than that, but it's nothing too scary or complicated. It doesn't have any dials or buzzers. You don't have to turn it on. You just have to open a package.
It is, try to make it simple. Simplicity is the best way to do it in high stress. Chaotic situations. You don't want to have to find someone that's been reading manuals and instruction books for years to do something. You want something that's easy to use, and anybody can use it regardless of their level of training.
That is true. That is true. And death from blood loss happens really quickly. If you get someone, that doesn't have to be a gunshot wound. Of course, we all go right there, but it can be impalement, working at a factory, something falls off the ceiling. I mean, we've all been stuck with things here and there, and if it gets you in the right spot, you could have a serious problem. And as humans, I looked this up, 1.5 gallons of blood is average for our entire bodies. And that's really not a lot, unless it's on the floor. It's really not a lot. And after 2 pints, you're in shock. That's it. 2 pints is nothing. Look in your refrigerator, it's your half and half containers. Yeah. That's not a lot of blood.
No, it's not. And they can happen from anything. You stick your hand through a glass window, or you drop a plate, or you cut yourself with a knife. I mean, little things like that can quickly start resulting in a massive amount of blood loss.
Of course, you named the 3 things I've done. So anybody can do this by yourself. You don't need somebody else to do it to you. So this is important for everyone to know. How often do you do the trainings at this point? Are they set up, or is it a as needed basis?
We train with our guys annually on the equipment. We also leave supplies out so that they can, as their squads and their groups, they can just refresh their memories. I tell them when I was doing the initial trainings with them, I don't want the first time you opened up your tourniquet to use it to be the time you need to use it, and that's not the time to start learning. So we have supplies available for them to use every day if they wanted to, just to practice, so they don't have to get into the supplies they carry in their cars that need to keep them and other people alive. So we have practice supplies, and then we go to the schools and do the trainings. We take the actual bags that we provided to them, so they would know what they look like, what's in them, where they are in the bags, and things of that nature. And even at the school, if they need additional, if they said, hey, we got a new teacher coming in, we'll go in and do additional training with them, maybe a refresher training. It's something we would like to do annually with them, just to make sure that they're up to date. And they have new teachers and substitutes and things like that we want to make sure everyone understands what's available to them.
Yeah, brilliant. That's great. Now these bags, we'll throw this out real quick before we take a break. The bags are purchased with donations for schools.
Correct.
And then placed in schools. However, if you want one for your business, for your car, it's easy enough to get, but you do have to buy your own. And they're not terribly expensive. They're around $350, I believe, but definitely something you want to have around. So you can get one too. It's not just involved in schools. Of course, if you want to donate to help a school get a bag, that's easy too. Just contact the number on your screen. Contact the Chino Valley Police Department. We're talking with Lieutenant Vincent Shawn from the Chino Valley Police Department. We're talking about the Stop the Bleed program. It's all over the internet. That's easy to look up too. Otherwise, go to chinoaz.net. Check out the government section. Look for the police department under there. It's going to have some information there, and check out the Facebook page. We'll be right back with more Countywide after a quick break, so don't go away.
It appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool. Oh, yeah. Ah, yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed. about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
And welcome back to Countywide. I'm Jen Cohen. We're sitting with Lieutenant Vince Shawn. He is from the Chino Valley Police Department. We're talking about the Stop the Bleed program, relatively new program, just came out in 2015. Trainings are being provided over there in Chino. You can go, we can go to you and get trained, even if we're in Cottonwood.
Correct. Give us a call. We can set something up that'll work with everyone's schedule to provide you some training.
Good, good. And then as time goes, I mean, it's only been out for a couple of years, more and more departments will be picking this up, and this will be available most likely.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure a lot of them are already involved in a lot of the training and stuff for their internal staff and programs. It just comes down to finding a mechanism to get that out to the public. So.
Certainly, certainly. Now let's talk about what's in the bag. I mentioned before, it's not as complicated as I expected. It's a couple of packages. So what are we looking at when we open one of those bags?
So the bags that we've put together for our schools and for our staff have these items in it. There's 4 of each item in the bag. So there's 4 H bandages, which is a large amount of gauze attached to an ace bandage. The benefit to that is it also has, in this case for the H bandage, an H-shaped plastic fulcrum type piece where you can wrap the bandage around it and really get a nice tight pressure applied to the wound or the injury, even to the point where you could actually use that probably to stop complete blood loss as a tourniquet, depending on the area it is. But it's great for applying pressure, a large pad to absorb the blood and help the clotting, and then you can let go, because once you got it applied, you don't have to continue to hold pressure. So it really helps apply pressure without tying up both your hands to continue the pressure. So we have 4 of each of these in our bags, just because you never know how many people are going to need one item versus the other. In addition, we have 4 tourniquets. Tourniquets are only good for the extremities, arms and legs, but you can lose a lot of blood through the arms and legs because the arteries and stuff feed in those areas, especially something in the leg. So the 4 tourniquets are in there. The tourniquets that we utilize are capable of being applied with one hand. The reason we chose these as well is because if our officer needs to use it and they've been injured, we want them to be able to apply it to themselves instead of waiting for a partner or backup or someone to come assist them. So they're fully capable of being utilized by one person on themselves, even if they've been injured. We also have some chest seals. 4 chest seals are placed into the bags. What those are for injuries to the chest and the back area, you know, stab wounds, gunshot wounds, and things like that penetrate the chest, the lungs, and things like that. They're great for allowing things to vent out, such as air as you're breathing and oxygen, you know, when you exhale and inhale. But they prevent things from getting inside to the wound in the chest cavity. The last, or the second to last piece that we have in there is some quick clot gauze. It's a gauze that's impregnated with a clotting agent to help blood clot and stop the bleeding faster. So it's small gauze pads with that chemical impregnated into the gauze. It's something that you can use to pack wounds and things like that, and help keep blood where it needs to be so that it'll clot faster. And then we have some self-adhesive gauze or Coban, so that if you do end up using some of the gauze or something, you can wrap it on there and it'll hold it there in place as well. Again, freeing your hands to treat another injury or another person. So.
Right. And I love that each one of these packages, with the exception of the tourniquet, because it doesn't come in a package, has directions, it has instructions. So if you've never seen an H bandage before, which I hadn't seen one, it has instructions on the back.
Yeah, on the back of all these packages, it shows instructions how to do it, how to apply it, what it can be used for. So if, you know, at the high school level, if a teacher needed help with something, she could at least get some assistance from one of the students in the class that could look at the back and follow simple instructions. You know, middle school as well. You know, you get down to the grade school level, it might not be quite as easy to get assistance from them, but even at a business, a shopping center or something like that, we give these to people. At least there's instructions if we're there with our equipment waiting. You know, to get the trained, qualified medical people in there, like the fire department and things like that. There's a delay in our response time everywhere, and we tell that to the school. You know, we're going to be there quick. Yeah. But we have a priority if we get there if there's a mass incident going on at a school. Even if it's a mass casualty collision, car wrecks and things like that, we get to the scene, we have to make sure it's safe before we can start treating injuries, because otherwise we're just adding to the casualty list. So this buys us time. We can deal with what we need to initially, and we can get treatment to the people. And then the more people we have trained, obviously, the more likely that treatment will be there faster. Well,
certainly. And even if you are not trained, if you happen to be the person on scene willing to help and you're not trained, this stuff is very simple to use. Absolutely. So if you're, but you don't have the training, just go for it anyway, because it's not something that's so overly complicated that anyone can't do it.
No, it's simplified and direct. We're just trying to stop blood loss, and although there's going to be adrenaline rushing, there's going to be stress, it's going to be a chaotic situation, you know, making it simple, and the training will make it so you're not thinking about what you're doing, you're going to react. And that's why we train with the teachers and we train with our staff. And we utilize this in all the training. We do active shooter training. We implement this in that training. So we do initial training every year with just the equipment, but then we add it into the rest of our training throughout the year. So it's not something you're thinking about, it's just something you're doing because you know to do it. It's just ingrained in you. And that's eventually how we'd like our entire population to be, is some willing to help and knowing what to do so that they don't have to worry about thinking through the process. Because that, again, takes time to think through processes.
Yeah, and time is something you don't have when there's an injury resulting in blood loss. It only takes 2 to 5 minutes, depending on the injury, to go to a point where there's no return if there isn't some serious medical help. And you know, 2 to 5 minutes is a very quick response time for you guys to get there. But in that amount of time, depending on the injury, those people present really do need to know how to take action to help their friends, neighbors, or the perfect stranger.
Oh, absolutely. From the time we get the call to a true in-progress emergency, we have about a 4-minute response time. That's from the time we get the call. That's not from the time the incident happens, because there's a delay from the time it happens till we get the first phone call. So if you have to wait that 4 or 5 minutes, it may not be enough time. But if someone's there and they can start within a minute, start within 30 seconds of the injury, you know, it really save someone's life.
Absolutely. And these are things you can have in your car. You can get one of these bags. You can order one for yourself. You can get one for your business or your church group or your organization. They are donated to schools through tax donations, which is, again, it's a 501c3 foundation. So if you're looking for tax donations for 2019, you can put forward. Anyone that donates the $350 buys a bag to put into a school.
Correct, and we've had partial donations. Someone was able to give $100, so we put it towards the next bag that we buy. We're working on a complete list of everyone that has donated, and we're going to be throwing that up on our website just to, you know, thank the members of our community that are willing to step out and help our children, especially at our schools.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important. So check out chinoaz.net. Look under the government tab. You'll find the police department there. Information is going to be there, a little bit on their Facebook page as well. And you can give them a call, 928-636-4223. Give them a call there if you want some more information, if you want to talk about setting up a training, if you want to drive on over to Chino Valley and check it out. It sounds like it's something that's absolutely, absolutely worth it. We're going to take a short break, but we'll be right back with more Countywide, so don't go away.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
How I define making? In the broadest possible terms, it is making something extant in the world that didn't exist. Everybody who's ever made anything is bringing something into fruition for a reason. And that act in and of itself makes us stewards of our culture. It's something that we're talking about. It's a response. Actually, it's telling a story. That's really what it is. And I include everything that could be made: painting, sculpture, welding, all of that.
Yellow is positive.
When a kid gets their hands on the world and learns that they can make their fantasy play, that they can make their reality, that's power. And as far as I'm concerned, everyone should feel that kind of power. There we go. If there's something that interests you to bring into the world, that's fantastic. Go figure out how to do it. Go tell your own story. There it is. And so I want to know why you make. Let's go.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Welcome back to Countywide. Just a few minutes left. We're talking with Lieutenant Vince Shawn. He's from the Chino Valley Police Department. We've been talking about the Stop the Bleed program, relatively new program, but if you look online, it comes up all over the place. You can check out chinoaz.net, go under the government section in the police. You'll find information for it there. Also, Chino Valley Police Department's Facebook page, information there. It's a program that puts the tools necessary to stop bleeding in anyone, really. And if you've got training, awesome. If you don't, it's pretty simple stuff. Anyone can get one of these bags. It's a $350 cost. They can get them through you. Through
Correct.
The Chino Valley
they
Police
make
Department?
the donations to our police foundation. We send them a bill of what the bag costs, and we make the purchase. They can go online and buy the supplies themselves. What we're telling churches and businesses and things like that, if you want to buy a variation of that, as long as it's the same function, so that the training that we're providing is adequate, we can work with them on doing that. We shop around for the best price we can find on things, just because, again, donation money, we want to make sure 100% of that's going there. Right. We don't use any of the money or any of the donations for anything internally. Every penny goes towards purchasing bags and supplies for these programs through our schools.
And to put them into the schools for free, no charge to the school. As of this moment, how many schools in your area have these bags?
So we have 4 schools in our actual town, Del Rio, Territorial, Heritage Middle School, and the high school. All 4 campuses currently, as of Monday this week, have at least 2 bags. We've had funding for 9 bags. We've put 3 at the high school and 2 at the other 3 schools. As funding comes in, we'll continue to add those bags. We have another school in our community, Mingus Springs Charter School. We're going to be reaching out to them now that we've got our direct schools involved, just to see if they're interested in doing this at their campus as well. We're going to move forward with that, and then as businesses and organizations contact us, we'll start setting up trainings with them. We actually have had one organization contact us, so we're going to be working with them to try to set some training up.
Great, super. And as we said before, we can go to you and request a training. But if you want to step out to your local fire department, your local police department, say, hey, I heard about this program, the Stop the Bleed. What do you know about it? How can we get involved? How can we bring it into our community? Because it is a relatively simple program, which I'm still so impressed. If you want to make a donation to assist schools in the area, or perhaps get your departments rolling on it, it's very simple, and it's a tax credit. You got to love that. But if you want to work through the Chino Valley Police Department, you can give them a call. 928-636-4223. You can go to chinoaz.net, again under the government tab, the police department there. $50 helps. $10
Anything helps.
The bag costs $350, but you know, getting it there is, however that comes about, is great. And having this in schools and having the training, there isn't a charge for the training.
No, the training's free. It's something we feel compelled to do as leaders in our community and those out there trying to keep people safe. We want to make sure we're involved in that.
Well, I certainly appreciate what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
I really, really do.
We have a great community, and that's, we want to work together like we have been and just make sure everyone has it, because, nothing bad ever happens at home, but it does. So, you know, a lot of people think, well, it's someone else's problem. It doesn't happen here. You know, things happen everywhere. We've used these kits to save a couple lives and members of the public. And they weren't mass casualty situations. We didn't have active shooters and things like that. One was a car crash. One was someone trying to take their own life. You know, both of them have recovered as best as they could based on their injuries, but, you know, they do work. You know, we have firsthand knowledge of that, and we just want to expand it, because when I'm out in the public, I'm out traveling with my family, I want to make sure people can help us if we need help, and that's why we want to get this out there.
That's excellent. Thank you very much. Lieutenant Vince Shawn, we've been talking about the Stop the Bleed program from the Chino Valley Police Department. That's all the time we have for Countywide. We'll see you again next time.